Bye. Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to today's Control-M version 8 webinar. One note that today's call is being recorded. At this time, I'll turn the conference over to Ted Levitt. Please go ahead, sir.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. This is Ted. Work with Control-M support here at BMC, and I wanted to today go over with you some new features that we've introduced with the Control-M 8 FixPak 1. Briefly discussing the agenda. I'm going to take about 30 minutes of your time and then open for Q&A after that. I'm going to start with what exactly is FixPak 1. I'm going to be focusing on some demonstrations. I'm going to demonstrate for you some enhancements to the user interface. I'm going to demonstrate our implementation of utilizing a network load balancer. I'm then going to demonstrate and discuss our new zero downtime FixPak for the Control-M agent, and then get into some performance improvements we've made with the Control-M server's new day processing. Start things off, let's talk a little bit about FixPak 1. FixPak 1 was released in May of this year. There are 3 separate packages for the FixPak. There is a distribution of the FixPak for the Control-M server, the Control-M agent, and the Enterprise Manager. We've put a focus on enhancements and performance with this FixPak, but there are also over 200 cars defects that have been addressed with the FixPak across the different products. You'll note in the release notes there are specific cars that are addressed for the Enterprise Manager client and server, and in the release notes it will denote whether a client install of the FixPak is required to get that functionality. And I would encourage you to please review the release notes, which are available on FTP or on our product documentation website, which can be accessed from the BMC support website by clicking through to product documentation. There's some good information in there. In regards to the GUI enhancements we're going to be going over, the first is the data center rename feature in the configuration manager. And next are some new features in the workload automation GUI, or what we used to refer to as the EM GUI in the planning domain. We have a new banner denoting a new job. We have remote browsing. We have a run as dummy feature. We have change tracking for jobs in a workspace. We have integrated the ZOS JCL verify into the GUI, and we've added an exclude rule-based calendar. So I'm going to now share my desktop and start in with the data center rename. Here you'll see I have my Control-M configuration manager already up. I have 3 Control-M servers defined. 2 happen to be on the mainframe, Control-M for ZOS, and 1 is distributed. I have here something called xprod. This is one of my mainframe data centers. I'm going to right-click on it, and then at the bottom here, there is a feature or a selection called Rename Control-M, and I'm going to click this. And this is basically going to do our rename. In previous versions of the Enterprise Manager, we had a mess of SQL statements that had to be run in order to perform this rename, and now it's essentially clicking through a couple of dialog boxes. It's quite nice. So I want to point something out here in this dialog box. At the bottom, there's a specific note that when we're renaming a data center, specific components need to be restarted in order to reflect this change. We need to restart the global condition server, the GUI server, BIM, forecast, self-service, and the gateway. Since I'm demonstrating this for you for time's sake, I'm not going to go through the component recycle, but please be aware that it does need to be done in order to reflect that change. So I'm going to pick a name, and I'm going to call it mainframe prod is going to be the name of my new data center, as opposed to xprod. I'm going to click OK. Here I get the typical confirmation dialog. And here, do I want to rename the Control-M server? I'm going to click yes. So here is a very important item. In the rename process, we actually check for authorizations and global condition prefixes. And here is an example of some authorization rules which will be affected in the rename process. I can expand each one of these items, and for the example here, I have an authorizations on the active jobs filter. And here I can see two groups which will be impacted by this rename because I have a mask defined in that filter for a data center or Control-M X star in the group MD prod. So that's a note that will have to be accommodated. And as well, I have another group here which has a mask of star prod star. So you'll note that both the old name and the new name are reported on here. And we'll see I have a conditions filter as well. All of these messages are going to be noted in a log. I'm going to expand this window here so I can see the full name of the log file. And we can see here that it's rename CTM from XProd to mainframe prod. I can click on this link and it will open the file. The contents of the file will be the same that appear in this dialog here. So I'm going to close this window. And if I simply click ignore and continue, it will rename my data center and all the associated tables in the database and whatnot. And then I would need to proceed to restart the components for the sake of the demo. I'm just going to click cancel here, but I can assure you that it does work. Okay. The next thing I wanted to show you were some changes in the workload automation GUI in the planning. I'm going to open a blank workspace in the planning domain, and I'm going to drag over an OS job, for example. Okay. First thing of note here is the new banner in the upper left corner of both the folder and the job node. So this is going to denote that a new job and folder has been added to the open workspace. The changes or the new item will remain new until the workspace is checked in. Right? So once I check this in, the job and folder will no longer be new. I'm going to update some properties on this and just call this test folder. Keep it on CTM prod. And I'm going to update some properties on the OS job. I'm just going to call it diag test. And I'm going to put a run as in here of CTM7 and just put some application in there and plug in some random stuff. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is check in this table, and you'll note that the new will go away. Okay. I'm now going to check out the table and show you something else that's new. This is the remote browsing. So the remote browsing will actually go to the Control-M agent, or in the case of the Control-M for ZOS, it'll go into your memlib and browse for members. I'm going to show you how this works. I'm going to change the run as owner. I'm going to populate the host name. It would have defaulted to the Control-M server name, but I'm plugging it in anyway just to be specific. And then you see the ellipses here by the file name, and the tooltip is Browse Remote Host for Files. So I'm going to click this, and it's going to default to the file path I've specified. I'm going to take that out. I'm going to click Browse again, and it's going to default instead to the user's home directory. Here we can see CTM8 is where I've performed a Control-M version 8.1 install, so I have the agent, EM, and server. I'm going to browse into the agent, CTM, and then the scripts directory, and I'm going to select the AG diagcom script. Right? When I double-click on this or click on it and then select Save, you'll see that both the file name and the file path are selected. Okay, so I will click OK. And this brings me to the next thing I'd like to show you, which is the modified banner. you'll see in the upper left of the job node what we like to think of as a pencil icon. And this will denote any jobs that have changed since the workplace was last checked in. So both the new and the modified will carry through regardless of changes in ownership of the workspace. As long as that workspace is checked out, it will carry those over. Now, again, something even better that I want to show you are details on these changes. In the workspace ribbon at the top, we have a Show Changes button. You can click this, and at the bottom of our workload automation GUI, we can see here it will list the changes to the job and give you details on those changes. Since I'm using a low resolution here, it's a little more difficult to see, but you can select this item and copy it into and paste it into, say, a notepad or something like this if you'd want. The idea is that the track changes will allow you to track changes inside of a workspace. Mind you, these haven't been checked in yet. When you do check them in, we use the audit functionality to track changes to scheduling. So you can use these two features in conjunction with one another to be able to monitor changes to your scheduling definitions and such. Okay, and I'm going to just demonstrate one other thing really quickly. I'm going to close this workspace and save my changes. Call my workspace Ted's Place, and you'll see here in the workspace the name, description, created, updated. I'm going to open that again and just show you that the modified flag is still there on that job and the changes still appear. Okay, so one more thing, our table is still checked out. I'm going to step into the next feature, and the next feature here I want to talk about is our Run as Dummy checkbox. In the past, we had a dummy job being denoted by the what. In the case of a distributed job, it's going to be a script command or embedded script. On the mainframe, it's going to be a started task, a job, or an embedded JCL. And when we changed it to dummy, we lost that. On the mainframe, you set dummy in memlib or overlib, and in the distributed side, we set it here. By clicking Run as Dummy, we preserve what it was before. In the case here, we preserve that it was a script. In the case of the mainframe job, we do preserve now the memlib or overlib, so you can come back later and unclick the Run as Dummy, and it will change back and run just as it would before. So this is quite a powerful feature now, especially for those sites that regularly dummy jobs out throughout the week or what have you. Okay, so next I want to bring you to the JCL verify functionality. This is on the mainframe, so I'm going to close this workspace, and I am going to load a table that my friend Ronnie has prepared for me, a table called JCL verify, and it's going to contain one job for you. Now, in the workspace with the job, or with the folder checked in, I'm going to go to the Analysis tab, and from the Analysis ribbon, select JCL Verify. This will submit the request to the mainframe and will pop up a window here down the bottom. And more importantly, since this is pretty small, we have a couple of options. The first option here is to export, which will open a dialog where you can save the details of this to a file. And the second one, which I'm going to do right now, is open in a separate window, which will make it a large window. And here, I want to walk briefly through what we have as our output. You can see we have a rainbow of colors. We have what's green here is showing up as informational messages. What's red is showing up as errors. What's orange is warnings. And what's black is the original JCL that's coded in the member we're running. So we can take a look at some informational messages. We have some changes to the message class. In regards to the error, we're enforcing some site policy here. In the job card, you can see we have attempted to run the job in Class A, and per our JCL verify rules, the job must run in Class P, so we receive an error accordingly. As well, you can see in the allocation, the DCB, we've attempted to use tracks as the allocation, and according to our site standard, we must allocate with cylinders. So here, that's also stated. We have a couple of other errors regarding the user and whatnot. And our warning here is regarding the disposition of the allocation. The JCL verify detects that the data set we're attempting to allocate with a disposition of new already exists. So it's given us that warning, and this would produce a not cat 2 situation in normal circumstances, but we're warned of this. Okay. So this is the JCL verify integration with the Enterprise Manager. Okay. I'm going to unshare my desktop, and we're going to talk about some exclude rule-based calendars. So these are rule-based calendars attached to smaller folders, and these are essentially not calendars. These are going to be used to schedule days on which your jobs or tables or folders, excuse me, are not to be run for excluding things like holidays or special days and such like this. It's enhanced functionality that was created for both existing users and for users that are migrating or converting from products that had this functionality. So we have enhanced our scheduling accordingly. So we have this expanded functionality with our scheduling in smart folders. Next, I'm going to run to load balancer. I want to make a very specific point here to open in regards to load balancing. We used to have something we called load balancing, and we had done this in Control-M with a combination of the Control-M node groups and quantitative resources. This is something new here. This is not load balancing. This is a network load balancer router is what we call it. To use this functionality, we need the Control-M at version 8 fixed pack 1, and this means the server, the agent, and the Enterprise Manager. In order to start using the functionality, we need to flip a parameter called enable load balancer. I've showed this in the Control-M EM system parameters here. So we change this from false to true. Since it's a manual refresh, we need to recycle the configuration server. Once we've done this, we can go about setting it up. The network load balance router is discovered in the Control-M configuration manager as a unique entity, similar to an agent, and I'll show you that. And another very important point here is when we're using a load balancer router, the agents behind that load balancer still need to be reachable by the Control-M server, because the Control-M server is still going to be tracking the jobs on those agents, and will still need to be able to contact those agents to do things like retrieving sysout and cleaning the sysout. We now call it output, excuse me. The agent similarly will need to be able to contact the Control-M server to report its status. So let me, again, share my desktop, and we're going to hop over to the configuration manager. And I'm going to go and select my distributed Control-M server, and I'm going to go to the new item and select the load balance router. I'd like to take this time also. I'm sure you have a lot of questions. Please ask those in the Q&A panel, and we'll do our best to address any question that comes up. We look forward to your questions, in fact. Okay, back to the new network load balance router. I have here what would look to you, if you've done it before, very similar to discovering a new agent. Okay, in here, I will specify the host name. This is the name of the device or machine that's running the load balancer. And I will here specify the server to agent port number. Now this is, we refer to this as the server to agent port number here. This is the TCP port that the network load balancer is listening on to receive requests to basically send out to the agents behind it. And we also have here the timeout parameters that are associated with the agent, the communication timeouts, and an SSL selection. So I'm going to cancel this because I have already defined one here. I have called my network load balancer router NLB agent, and it has behind it several other agents which have already been discovered. I'm going to pop over to the workload automation GUI and submit some jobs to the network load balance router and show you what that looks like. Okay, I'm actually going to pop over to the planning domain and load my table and or my folder, excuse me, and show you what that looks like really quick. I have a folder called ANLB test. A handy because it shows up on top. My job here is simply going to submit to my host NLB agent, which is my network load balance router device. And I am running here, again, the AG diagcom script. It's always a good demonstration, right? Show you it's working. And the file path here, both the file path and the file name, the script I'm running, exist on all agents behind, on all hosts behind the load balance router. They have to look the same or similar in order for this thing to work, of course. Okay, I'm going to right-click on this job and select Order. And I'm going to ignore my scheduling criteria. Click the Order button. My job has been ordered. I'm going to pop over to the Monitoring tab and dig into my NLB test. I can see my job has already ended. Here's my job. Two things of note. I'm going to open the job properties, and we'll see that where I've specified host group, it has run on the host shrew, which is an agent behind the network load balancer. I'm going to show you the log of this, and in here you'll see explicitly that the job was submitted to the NLB agent, the load balancer, and then it was started on shrew, which is a specific agent. So I'm going to rerun this job and demonstrate what happens. I have my load balancer configured to do this in a round robin, so it should go to another agent. I'll submit log again, and we can see here we've submitted to NLB agent, and we've started on chimp. So this is going to go round and round to the different agents that the network load balancer is connected to. Now, what we had talked about before, when we open up the output, it is going to the agent to retrieve that output. So you do need the server to be able to talk to the agent. So here's our agent. Here's our output from chimp in this case, the first run, and we can similarly go to shrew and get the other output. I'm going to close this window, and we're going to now move to the agent zero downtime. I'm going to unshare here, and I have a little slide, and we talk about this. The zero downtime agent is available on the version 8 GA Unix agent from the application of FixPack 1 and beyond. On the Windows agents, we actually start this from FixPack 1 to FixPack 2 and so forth. And because of the notification methodology we use, we do need the Control-M server to be on version 8. I had someone ask me this morning, in fact, do we plan on implementing this for version 9? And I imagine the answer is yes, that in the future the upgrades will also be zero downtime. And how it does this is actually behind the scenes. We do some file manipulation, and we manage to keep the processes running on the agent, and only for a very brief period of time stop the agent processes. But when we do stop those processes, we notify the server that an upgrade is in progress, so the server knows not to submit any jobs and not to perform any tracks on that agent during that brief time. So this means with the no downtime that you don't need to quiesce the agent, you don't need to stop submitting jobs to it. You won't see any disappeared or unknown jobs on that agent while it's being upgraded. And there is only a very brief period of time when the agent is actually unavailable to the server. On our VMs where we've been doing this testing over and over again, the actual period of time where the agent is unavailable and not running is a second or less. And due to the notification on between the agent and the server, it really is not noticeable. I'm going to pop over again to my Control M, where I'm going to demonstrate for you. I have set up actual batch jobs myself to do the agent upgrade. So I'm going to pop over to my workspace. I'm going to load my table, my folder. Keep doing that. I'm sure all of you do it too. And I have a folder called maintenance. I'm going to load that job. And in my maintenance folder, I actually have two jobs that I've set up. One to install the agent fix pack and another to uninstall the agent fix pack. Now, for those that don't believe in magic, here I am logged into my agent 2, where I'm going to install the agent fix pack, and we can see that we are on the base release version 8.0.0. And I'm going to open up the install job here and show you that I have downloaded the agent fix pack to a patches directory under the agent 2 user on this machine. And I am running this with a couple of command line options. I'm running it with a -S for a silent install, so it won't interactively prompt me. I'm running it in batch. If you were running it by hand, you could exclude the -S option. And I've also included a -F option, F is in Frank, for forcing the installation of the fix pack. With version 8, as you may be aware, on Linux hosts, we install by default the 32-bit agent unless you explicitly set an environment variable. I have here the 32-bit agent installed, and because I'm installing the 32-bit agent on the 64-bit platform, it'll throw a message back to me saying this isn't intended for the platform. A -F will bypass that message and install the fix pack that I want. So I am going to now order my installation job, which will run the fix pack installation on agent 2. I'm going to pop over to monitoring and go to my fix pack application, install the agent fix pack. There's my job. It's running, it's running, it's running. It's unpacking some file, doing the upgrade. So we're doing the actual agent fix pack, of course, with the agent running. That's the whole point of this. So as I said, only for a brief period of time does the agent fix pack actually stop the agent. So I'm going to look at the output here. We're going to talk about it a little bit. We can see here that it's extracting the files, performing the installation, and it's done. If you had performed the agent installation interactively, there are some additional messages that you'll see here, including extracting the files, preparing the files, copying the files, and then notifying the server that the agent is being upgraded, shutting down the agent, starting the agent, and notifying the server that the agent fix pack is completed. And those 4 items typically, like I said, take less than a second or two. So this is the part where it's unavailable is actually quite quick. And for the rest of our magic trick, I'm going to look at my installed versions text file on my agent where I just ran that job, and we can see that we have actually applied the fix pack 1. Yay. Okay. The last thing, again, any questions, please bring them on. I'm more than happy to address them. I'm going to unshare my desktop, and I'm going to talk about the new day. One of the significant things that we've done with FixPack 1 is introduce a concept called pre-ordering. And with this pre-ordering, we've introduced a new system parameter on the control-M server called newday_mode. And by default, we've enabled this functionality because we can't think why anybody wouldn't want it. This newday mode parameter is set to 1, and any value of 1 or above is going to enable the pre-ordering. What this does is it will scan the defined jobs on the control-M server before new day. By default, the period of time is 10 minutes. It can be changed. And it'll look for jobs that would be ordered at new day, and then it will pre-order those jobs. It will place those jobs into a temporary table that we'll use later. And between the time where the pre-order runs and the actual new day happens, we will check to ensure that no folder or job has been deleted or changed, no calendar or rule-based calendar, whether it's whatever, regardless the scope, has been changed. Anything that has been changed will not be pre-ordered in this fashion, but will be marked for manual order during the normal new day processing. Because we have created this temporary table in the meantime, we do increase our database utilization. And we say by approximately 30%. Of course, this depends on how you order your jobs and how large your database is, if you do ad hoc, etc. But we have changed how the control-M server alerts on database space. On Sybase, we alert at 70% now, whereas it was 90% before, and with the other databases, it was 85%. It is now 85%. I'm going to hop over to a quick chart showing what we've done before FixPack 1. Nothing is done before New Day. When New Day happens, we do the typical things we do. We start with the cleanup of the active environment, the control-M logs, the statistics, and the sysout on the agents. And then jobs are ordered for our daily run, our user daily system. After the FixPack, with our new pre-ordering, that period of time before New Day, default 10 minutes, we will evaluate the defined jobs on the control-M. We will pre-order those jobs, which are intended to run today. At New Day time, we will check to see if there have been any changes to the scheduling, any job definitions, rule-based calendars, and not order the jobs that are no longer intended to be ordered, and mark for manual order those jobs which were not pre-ordered prior. Okay? New Day will start just as it did before. The cleanup will occur. We'll clean up the active environment, the logs, statistics, this is out. And then we will take that temporary table that we created prior to New Day and copy it over to the active environment. And what this does in our labs, I have here taken one of the scenarios that we had, which was a control-M server on Solaris with Oracle 11G with 20,000 jobs to be ordered, and a New Day of approximately 4.5 minutes was turned into a New Day of approximately, or exactly, 15 seconds with the pre-ordering. So we cut a drastic amount of time out of the ordering portion of the New Day. Very impressive feature. I would like to wrap things up and remind you that all of the things that I have discussed, as well as many additional things, are located in the release notes. You can find those release notes on our product documentation site, which I've linked here. You can click through to support and then product documentation on the BMC site. The next topic we're going to be talking about, Froylan is going to be covering auditing for us. Sure, auditing is always a riveting topic. I'm looking forward to it. I would ask that after our presentation is over that you do fill out our survey. We're very interested in you providing us with future topics. We want to give you what you want. Important we know that. Please give feedback on the presentation as well. Some upcoming topics for the next couple of months. Again, Froylan is covering auditing on the 17th. And then Daryl is going to be discussing backup and recovery on August 14th. That's going to be a very important topic, and Daryl will do a great job on that. Our previous recordings, including one that Rick and I had done on the version 8 upgrade, can be found on the on-demand site, the www.bmc.com/events/on-demand. You'll see there our webinars as well as other webinars. Joe Goldberg is giving one on a similar topic coming up shortly as well. These will be on there. And please follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and the BMC communities, which have wonderful forums for customers and BMC discussing product and issues there. And I much thank you for your attendance.